Come on, let's continue. Let's come here to the audio L key twice and let's listen to it to see how far the next scene will go.
With an initial investment of $10,000 from his own pocket and the financial support of his parents, Bezos began to develop the platform and decided to name the company Amazon in reference to the Amazon River, the largest in the world.
Okay, well, that's it. Even when he says that the Amazon River is the largest in the world. So in this part, with Shift Control and D key or Shift Control D key, we cut the layer and this audio there. We copy this part of Audio Control C and come to the Compositions folder. We're going to create a new one that's going to be called Jeff Parents from 1920 by 1080 at 30 frames. And with 20 seconds left, we give OK. And here, Control V, we paste our audio. What happens is hidden around here somewhere. To adjust it here to the beginning of the timeline, we have to press a shortcut, Windows key and brackets. There we have it again, L key twice. And on this audio, we are going to assemble the next scene. Well, we are going to enter the composition of Chief Computer and Parents, which corresponds to the file that we have prepared before in Photoshop, the one that contains all these layers, because here we enter this composition Jet, Computer and Parents, and all these with Control C, we copy them and we come to the composition we have just created, Control V. And there we have them. What happens? We have to center them on the composition. So with the Home Control key or Home Control key, we leave it there, well centered. We also have to convert them to 3D, and with the S key, we expand the scale, and we are going to adjust the scale to each layer. For example, we are going to put these ladies at 60. We are going to put this one at 55. This one that Jeff appears with the money, we are also going to put it at 60. And this one in which he is sitting here in front of the computer, we are going to put it at 55. Okay, and since we are with this layer, we are going to leave it also positioned. We are going to move it on the x-axis to the right. Here comes a point where we no longer see where it is. So we are going to activate the Draft 3D option, which allows us to see all the elements that we have distributed in the 3D space. Okay, we display the position here, and here in X we are going to put 2875, and we are also going to send it to the bottom. Here we set a value of 1000 pixels on the Z-axis. We are also going to move the background layer to the right. P key, and we are going to put a value of 2820 here, and in the Z-axis we are also going to send it backwards. If Jeff's layer is at a depth of 1000 pixels, we are going to put this one at 2000 to then create the parallax effect that looks very cool, and this one that Jeff appears with the money, P key. And here we are going to lower it a little. We are going to put a value of 660 on the axis. And it is worth these two layers. For now, I am going to deactivate them and the Draft 3D option as well. And now with a right click, I'm going to create a camera. And this is going to be 50mm and a node. Again, right? Click New Null Object. We convert it to 3D, and this camera is related to it. And now with the P key, we unfold the position, mark a key from here at the beginning of the timeline, and we're going to zoom in a little bit. We are going to put a value of 180 pixels here, which passes here to the background layer, which in this entire part we lack pixel information, since we are going to put an effect called CC Repetil. And we are going to expand them to the left We put them there between 2503, 1000 there, and repeat. We change it to folk. Okay, perfect. We are now going to the second tree, and here we are going to zoom, but backwards. We are going to put minus 395. Okay, perfect. We select these two keyframes with F9, we smooth it, and we move it in this way to the curve that starts very quickly and little by little loses speed. And with this animation, we are going to create the transition between this scene and the previous one in which I ended up with Jeff, thus with a zombie appearance.
With an initial investment of $10,000 from your own pocket, with an initial investment of $10,000. With an initial investment.
Okay. Being in this keyframe with control off, we duplicate this null key or we delete these keyframes, and we are now going to put here in box 112, we mark an important keyframe to link the previous null to the new. And now we are going to put in 505. There it is, and what we are going to do. It's a little bit more zoom. We put here a value of 200 pixels on the ZI axis, these two keyframes. With F9 we smooth it, and we are going to give the curve this way. Here we give this manager 100% influence, and we leave him as he is.
With an initial investment of $10,000 from his own pocket and the financial support of his.
There it is.
From his own pocket and the financial support of his parents and.
Now in this part, which is when he talks about the financial support of his parents, well, we are going to activate the mother's layer first. Here at 205, we activate it and deploy the position. Well, we're gonna get here on 505. We mark a keyframe and move it a little to the right. We put it here in Equus, a value of 1460. We can also move it down a little bit. Here we are going to put 660, and we are also going to move it in the Z-axis. We are going to activate two views to see it better. Here we have Ye's cloak. Right there in the center, and here the ladies, because in the Z-axis, we are going to send her backwards. We put a value of 500 here. Now we are going to delay up to the second 2, 0, 5. And here on the X-axis, we are going to move it to the right. Until the composition is no longer seen, we are going to put a value on it. 2600 pixels, there it is. We activate the Lord's Cloak. We put ourselves here at 505, just below this keyframe. We unfold the position and mark a keyframe, and we are going to move it a little to the left. That's where we put 490 here in X. We're also going to lower it a little. Here we are going to put 680. And in the Z-axis, the depth, we are also going to put 500 pixels. Is it worth now on 205, just below this one? Well, we are also going to move it on the X-axis to the left until the composition is no longer visible. Here we can put it minus 730. Now we smooth all these keyframes with F9 and give the curve that starts very quickly and little by little loses speed.
From his own pocket and the financial support of his parents.
Okay, perfect. We put ourselves here in this last keyframe, select the null with Ctrl D, duplicate it, and with the U key, we expand these keyframes. We click on the clock to erase them, and we mark one new, and we are now going to put ourselves on the second 4. Put this one here and connect the previous one to the new one, and from the 4th, we are going to go to the 9, 10. Okay, now with this 0, what we're going to do is look for Ye's position, where he's sitting here in front of the computer. We put him here at X. 3000, and we are also going to do a little zoom. We are going to put it in Z 1100 pixels. Okay, there we have it. We select these keyframes with F new smoothing them and right-clicking on any of them. We are going to come to keyframe velocity, and we put a 65% influence on the drivers. We have to leave a curve just like it is.
With an initial investment of $10,000 from his own pocket and the financial support of his parents, Bezos began developing the Decided platform.
Okay, this looks great. What's going on here? Jeff's composition, the cape is Jeff's. Notice that it does not have pixel information down here because we are also going to put the CC Repetail effect on it. And we are going to expand it down. From repeat, we change it to folk, and that's enough. We come to this last keyframe. We double this null again. Key control, or we delete these and mark one new. And we are going to put this keyframe here in the 720. We put it here, and don't forget to link the old one to the new one. And now from 720, we are going to go to 1025 there. And we are going to continue zooming in on the Z-axis until we cross the jet and computer layer. And then this animation is going to be super cool. Here we are going to put a value of 3390. We select the 2F9. And with right-click keyframe velocity, and we also put a 65% influence on the drivers, okay.
Parents Bezos began to develop the platform, decided to name the company Amazon.
Perfect here at this point, which is when you're going to start zooming, we're going to select the background layer. We mark a keyframe in the position, and here in this well in the y-axis. We're going to move it down until it's no longer visible in the composition. Well, more or less around there, we can put a value of 2000. We select these two keyframes. We also smooth them with F9 and right-click. We are going to give the same influence as the previous ones, 65% to the two managers. Okay, perfect. Let's see what it looks like.
To develop the platform, he decided to name the company Amaz.
Okay. This looks spectacular. I am going to change the color of these Photoshop layers, for example, orange. And now here in this part, we are going to open the Assets folder project panel, and we are going to put the cardboard texture. We put it here under the camera, and we are also going to change its color, for example, green. We have to convert it to 3D, and now with Start Control. What has gone out of sight with Start Control, we put it back there in front of the camera. Now this texture, we are going to display the scale with the SY key, and we are going to put it on 50p key to see the position. And we check that it is at the same depth in the Z-axis as this last keyframe. 3390, 3390, perfect.
The platform decided to name the company Amazon as a reference.
We continue at this point here in the 1025 with control of we double this 0 again. And we are going to make a last key movement, or we delete these. We mark a new one, and we put ourselves in the second 9 around there. This Kevlar, we adjust it there. Is it important to connect the previous 0 to the new one? And from 9, we are going to go to 1505, which is right where this scene is going to end there. Well, now what we are going to do here in this new 0 is we are going to animate the axis, and here we are going to put a value of -950. In addition, we are also going to do a little more zoom. Here we are going to put 40/40/20 pixels, okay? We smooth these two with F9 right-click keyframe velocity. And here we are going to put a 50% influence on the drivers 50 and 50, and we are going to do a preview to see how it looks what we carry.
With an initial investment of $10,000 from his own pocket and the financial support of his parents, Bezos began to develop the platform and decided to name the company Amazon, in reference to the Amazon River, the largest in the world.
Okay, what happens is perfect. We are going to raise this layer of texture upwards. Let's see there.
Regarding the Amazon River, renowned as the largest globally,
Absolutely perfect. Now in this section, we need to fill in every pixel. We'll reapply the CC Repetile effect and extend it downwards. Set it between 1000 and 1500 repetitions.
Fold decided to name the company Amazon in reference to the Amazon River, the largest in the world.
Okay, great. Now here in this part is where the animation of the course of the Amazon River appears. So we are going to come to the project here, to the compositions. Amazon map. You have seen that by having everything well organized, we immediately go where we want the assets, the compositions. So it is important from the beginning to have everything well organized in folders. Well, let's get into this composition. And this layer, which is the course of the river, look there. Because with right click, we are going to come to create, and we are going to create a shape from this vector layer. Okay, now we come to add and put the effect of trim pads and the property of end. We mark a keyframe and set it to 0. And for example, 3 seconds later, we set it to 100. And this last keyframe with F9, we smooth it. Okay, look how the course of the river goes. What happens then later? We are going to adjust the timing. For now, we leave it like that. We return to the Jeff Padres composition, and we are going to bring the one from the Amazon map. We put it here under the camera. We also change its color and convert it to 3D. And with star control, we focus it there in view again. We have to put what happens at the same depth in the z-axis as the cardboard texture that we have here, which is a value of 3390. Shall we unfold the map? Here we are going to put 3390 so that it is placed right in front of us. Is what happens here in this last keyframe worth it? Well, we have to get the map down until the animation of the river is balanced here in the composition, here in the axis. And we're going to give it a value of -600. Okay? And these two values, the one of x, y, z, we leave it as it is. Because I told you before about adjusting the timing later.
Amazon River.
Because here, the animation is already over. So more or less around here in the second 12. Without moving the head from there, we come to the composition of the map, and these two keyframes of the animation, we are going to put it there so that the animation begins. Right at that point, we return to this composition and position ourselves in the last keyframe. We come to the map again and we adjust this there so that the animation of the river ends at the same time as the camera. Now notice how good it looks.
In reference to the largest Amazon River in the world.
Perfect, this looks great.
Amazon in reference to the Amazon River, the largest in the world.
There it is now in this part. When the transition begins here, here I want the Amazon logo to be seen. Then we come to our assets folder. Here we have it, because we are going to put it, for example, here above the Amazon map and we leave that color. We convert it to 3D KPI on the z-axis. We also have to put 3390. Let's do one thing. We select the logo with Alt Control and the Home key. We center the anchor point and Start Control. We focus it there in the composition. What happens here, we have to put 3390 so that it stays at the same height as the map and the cardboard texture. Whatever happens, we're going to make it smaller. It's very big. Let's look around because he's going to take a look.
For more, he decided to name the company Amazon.
Well, maybe I'm going to lower it a little more here on the axis, and this is already trying, until you find the result you like.
Platform decided to name the company Amazon. In this way, it decided to name the company Amazon in reference to the Amazon River, the largest in the world.
Okay, well, I like it. Let's preview everything, see what it looks like.
With an initial investment of $10,000 from his own pocket and the financial support of his parents, Bezos began developing the platform. He decided to name the company Amazon in reference to the Amazon River, the largest in the world.
This looks perfect now that at the beginning we are going to do an animation that is going to go from 0 to 10,000 while we are talking about the initial investment that Jeff made.
With an initial investment of $10,000 from his own pocket and the...
All right then. We come for the text tool, and here we are going to put, for example, a 1. The typeface I'm using is the same as Amazon Bookerly in its Boel variant. Well, I am also going to change the color of this text, for example green, and I am going to convert it to 3D with the Alt Control and the Home key to center the anchor point. And with the Home Control, we center it in view. We're going to make it bigger. And I'm going to activate 2 views to better see what I'm doing. This Jeff layer, the one that is holding the money, we have it in Z at a value of 0. It is right in the center. Because this one in the text, I am going to move it a little forward. I am going to display the position, and here I am going to put, for example, minus 250. Okay, that way. So that it stays a little in front of Jeff, I'm going to leave it there too. And now this text is important that it is justified at the center. If you don't see the paragraph options, you have to come to Windows, and we have it here. Paragraph is fine, since it has to be justified in the center. Now we are going to give this text an effect called slider control. We put it there, we display it here in the text options, and with the Alt key pressed, we are going to click on source text, and now we are going to attach this pick whip to the slider now. More or less here in the second one there. We mark a keyframe on the slider, and I don't know, more or less here in the second tree. Notice that if I move this value, it changes me. Here, then with this we are going to create the animation. Here we are going to put 10,000, which is the initial investment. Kizo Jeff, okay? But notice that we have a problem here. That you see a lot of decimals. So we are going to continue editing the expression right here at the beginning. We are going to write num anyway. We leave this as it is. And here at the end of the expression, we put point value, point to fixer. There we have it. And inside the parentheses, we put a 0. We come out of the parentheses, and now notice, you don't see decimals anymore.
Initially $10,000 from your own pocket and the dollars of your own $10,000 from your own pocket.
Now what's happening right here to the right of 10,000 looks perfect. I want the 2 appear. So we are going to continue writing one more thing. Here we put it. At the end we press enter. We change the line. And here we are going to write another number. I open and close quotes. And what we put here inside the quotes is what is going to appear here next to that of the figure. If I say, for example, hello, is that what you're going to say? But since I don't want him to put that, I'm going to delete and I'm going to put the OK. Great. This is turning out perfect.
With an initial investment of $10,000 from your...
What happens in this text? That is, this figure, I am going to cut it here so that it is not seen at the beginning.
With an initial investment of $10,000 from his own pocket and the financial support of his parents, Bezos began to develop the platform and decided to name the company Amazon in reference to the Amazon River, the largest in the world.
Come on, this looks spectacular. This layer of text with control of the, we can duplicate, and until we have it below here, we can put an effect on it, which is called radial fast blur. Here we have it. And here at this value, since we can increase the number of reflections that we want the text to have, I'm going to leave him more or less there in 80. When we have all the scenes finished, we are going to add and polish details or fix and remove things that we don't like.
Initial version of $10,000 from his own pocket and the financial support of his parents, Bezos began to develop the platform. He decided to name the company Amazon in reference to the Amazon River, the largest in the world.
Come on, we're still here. Additionally, we could place an effect on this layer of Jeff while he is seated here, right in front of the computer screen. We duplicate this boss layer in which he is sitting in front of the computer with control of it, and we are going to be left alone with it by activating this icon. Okay? We are going to give it an effect called extract. If you have After Effects in Spanish, we will put it there. We are going to put another one called tint or tinting if you have it in Spanish. And now, here in the extract bar, well, we are going to move it to the right. Look, and we are going to be left with solely the lights. If we navigate this bar down here to the left side, we can smooth the extraction a bit more there. Okay? It seems like it can prove useful for us right there. Now we are going to add yet another effect on this layer. It's titled Deep Low. This is actually a paid plugin. However, you can utilize the default glow feature in After Effects, which is what I will be using. We position it here and increase it slightly. This layer can now be deemed worthwhile. If you don't see the fusion modes with F4, we expand them, and we are going to set the add mode and see how we have highlighted the lights here, the before and after. And to simulate flicker, which makes the light from the computer and reflects here on the character, we are going to put an expression on the opacity. We expand with the tie key with Alt pressed. More click on the clock. Let's write here wiggle, and let's put, for example, 10.3. Let's try it out there. Let's see. Let's just stay with this layer and see what's happening.
Roll up the platform.
Decided good and not much appreciated. We are going to increase these values enormously. We will put, as an example, 30. 20, let's observe there.
You develop the platform.
Take note of the flicker effect generated by the computer, which, although subtle, ultimately all these minute details contribute to enhancing our animation significantly.
Decided.
Okay, well, we're gonna leave it there.
He decided to name.
I'm planning to review all the elements thoroughly to ensure nothing is missing, and if something is, we can add it.
With an initial investment of $10,000 from his own pocket and the financial support of his parents, Bezos began to develop the platform and decided to name the company Amazon in reference to the Amazon River, the largest in the world.
Okay, this looks perfect here in the composition of the Amazon River. Well, here's the stroke. We can give the animation the effect of deep low. What happens is, we are going to lower the radius, for example, over there. This is also to everyone's liking. I'm going to leave it there, okay? Well, this looks great, and I think we almost have this scene ready, as I said before. Then when we have it all finished, we can go one by one, adding particles, activating motion blur. Well, all those little things. Now what we're going to do is come to composition. We can now close all of these, this intro too, and we come to the main composition. And this is by Jeff and Padres, which is the one we have just created. We put it over here, and we are also going to change its color, for example, green, and we are going to put this one. This is the moment where the audio starts to play.
Let's see, with an initial investment of $10,000 from your...
What we're going to do is the following. We go back into composition and right-click audio. We're going to turn it into a guide layer so it's only heard in this composition.
Ava, with an initial investment of $10,000 from his own pocket, the corpse with an initial investment.
But here I am, seeing something that I don't like very much, and that is, in this scene composition every day, I'm going to eliminate this layer of adjustment. And here the montage layer. This is where I'm going to make the transition. So right-click, new adjustment layer, and we're even going to put a couple of effects on it. The first, the one called tint. We put it there. And now another one called invert. Now more or less here, a little before reaching the end. A little before reaching the transition here. 3 more frames back, 123. There we are going to cut the adjustment layer, edit split layer, and we now delete it from here. We count 56 frames ahead, then 12, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 more frames. We'll split the layer again and eliminate this part as well.
A Daver with an initial investment from a Daver with an investment. Starting with an initial investment, with an investment, with an initial investment.
I believe it looks quite impressive over there. Nevertheless, this process involves trial and error until you discover a satisfactory outcome.
Corpse with an initial investment of 10,000. Corpse with an initial investment of 10. Corpse with an initial investment of $10,000 from his own pocket. In 1994, Jeff Bezos founded the company Amazon, which had its physical space in the garage of his house in Seattle. This impulse from Jeff was generated by the idea of creating an online bookstore, taking advantage of the growing potential of the Internet. Initially, Bezos considered calling the company Cadabra, but his lawyer advised him to discard that name because it sounded too similar to the word corpse. With an initial investment of $10,000 from his own pocket and the financial support of his parents, Bezos began to develop the platform. He decided to name the company Amazon, in reference to the Amazon River, the largest in the world despite initial doubts.
This looks spectacular. Then, as I have said before, when we have all the scenes, we will polish details. But for the moment, this is visible. Wonderful. And now our next step is to save our project. Navigate to Archive, select Save as Animation, and proceed to save.